Okay, the time is 9:05 p.m. I just finished watching night 1 to WrestleMania 36, and wow, there's going to be a lot to talk about on this show tonight. And this is only night 1, folks, because I'm going to have so much to say, especially what we just saw in the end of this show. And I'm going to save my thoughts till we get to that, but wow, I'm sure everybody that came into watching WrestleMania tonight did not know what was going to happen in this whole empty arena show, especially due to the whole coronavirus right now. I was wondering how this was going to go. I almost forgot this show was even taped tonight, okay? But there's going to be a lot to talk about this, especially from the Performance Center. And there's some ups, there's a lot of downs, and man, it's going to be a lot to talk about, okay? So, number 1, welcome to my WrestleMania 36 Part 1 review. It's going to be a lot, okay? It's going to be a lot to talk about. Because the show started the pre-show started at about 5 o'clock p.m. today. And we had one kickoff show match. It's not a lot to talk about, but it was Cesaro going against Drew Gulak, which actually wasn't a bad match, but you could have used that on TV. This could have been any type of match on Raw or SmackDown, but at the last minute, it was on the kickoff show. It was okay, but they only had like 4 minutes out there, and I was kind of surprised that Cesaro won with his airplane spin with no hands. Almost like a torture rack or a spin, I should say, spinning him around. I thought he would have won with the neutralizer, but he spun him around and then he won, okay? I thought he would have won with the neutralizer, but hey, he just spins him around, no hands, on his neck, and beats Gulak. So it's not much to say from there, and I know they had Peter Rosenberg and Corey Graves, which we haven't seen in a while, somewhere in Stanford, doing all the pre-show stuff, going over the matches, so I don't have a lot to say from that. But kicking off WrestleMania, at first they had Stephanie McMahon. I'm sure there was a lot of jokes about her, trying to be the inventor of all women, because that's usually her thing, or just trying to push some propaganda, but she was in some studio and pretty much said that WrestleMania is different this year. It's from a different set that usually would be 80,000 fans, but due to the circumstances, she's not going to say what it is, but due to the circumstances right now, we're still going to do this show, and thanking everyone and welcome to WrestleMania, because as soon as we kicked off the show, they had a montage. Usually they get somebody to sing America the Beautiful every year, so they just got a montage of, through previous years of people singing from Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight, John Legend, Ray Charles, Boyz II Men. They've had a lot of people sing this throughout the years, but they kind of just put it all together into one clip, which wasn't actually not that bad. They kind of made that work, just taking various singers and putting them all in one montage clip. So that actually wasn't bad. So not bad on the editing job for that. But after that, they played the intro to WrestleMania. Of course, they do an old pirate thing, but they had somebody interrupt it several times, and which I actually thought this was pretty funny, because they kept interrupting the intro, and it was like, no, that's not how it works. Movie announcer guy, you got to start from here. No, let's start from here. We're gonna do this here. Well, we're gonna start it from there. This is what you're gonna do. And they kind of kept trying to make it funny through the intro. So I actually thought the beginning was kind of funny. Whoever was interrupting it, because they were trying to make it look epic with everybody going around all this pirate stuff and whatnot, but then they just kind of were being funny with it until they went on with the rest of the show. They kicked it off with the goofball right there, Gronk. Man, this guy sucks. Well, we're going to get more of him being a goof later. Same with Mojo Rawley, which, to be honest, and someone said this tonight, if Gronk was not here right now, we would not be seeing Mojo Rawley on anything related to WrestleMania. Okay? We would not see him at all. And I know there's no Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Thank God that's not happening again this year, because no one never really gains anything from that anyway, so I'm kind of glad that's not happening. So this is like the only time Mojo Rawley I felt like would ever made the WrestleMania due to him getting Gronk into the WWE. And he's just a goofball, so we'll get into him later, but the guy just looks like an idiot throughout the night. But we do kick off the show. Michael Cole and JBL were on commentary. Very bad audio levels for the commentary team tonight. I could hear Michael Cole louder than JBL. But they were on commentary, and the first match of the night, we had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Asuka and Kairi Sane. I'll be honest, I really did not care for this match. I don't care about these tag team titles in general because these belts don't mean shit. And I wish they killed them already. I will say this, though. It was not a bad match. Maybe giving out a 3 out of the 4 people involved in this, and I'm sure you know who was way better in this match that somewhat made it work. And I know it's going to be the thing, yeah, this doesn't work without a crowd. Yeah, we already heard that thing before. Yes, it doesn't work without a crowd, without a reaction. But hey, we got to take what we can get right now. So this is what you got. One thing I want to take from this was when Kairi Sane did a insane elbow. You could tell how edited this was because I think Nikki Cross... What was it? I think was it Nikki Cross? Nikki Cross had Asuka pinned, and when she does the insane elbow, you could tell how edited it was. She probably was late for this spot, so they edited her right at the 2 count, falling on Nikki Cross when she's doing the elbow drop. So you could tell that was edited. Asuka ended up putting Nikki Cross in the Asuka lock, but Bliss broke it up with a twisted Bliss. Kairi pretty much speared it in right after that. Nikki Cross was pretty much trying to get up, but Asuka and Kairi Sane had her on the top rope then, which Asuka had her in like a power bomb, and Kairi hit him with a big elbow from the or forearm from the top rope, which I guess they were trying to compare to the Road Warriors, like the Doomsday Device. I wouldn't say that, but not a bad double team move, which pretty much Nikki Cross was down. They were about to go for another one, but Kairi was about to, I think Asuka was holding up Nikki Cross. Kairi was about to go at her, but Cross dodged it. She almost hit Asuka, but stopped herself. Asuka charged into Nikki Cross, but ended up going into the turnbuckle then right after. Nikki Cross pretty much hit her spinning net breaker on Kairi Sane and Alexa Bliss, who did a twisted Bliss, but looked like she missed the entire move and won the tag team titles right after. So, number one, here's the thing. What opponents do they really have to face after this? Because, okay, yeah, you gave, or I should say you got new tag team champions. And, I said only positive, I should say that Asuka wasn't pinned this time, but then again, Asuka already got pinned on SmackDown a week or two ago, and that already looked like bullshit. So, like I said, I didn't care for this match to begin with. I knew who was gonna win, of course, because they said Asuka and Kairi have had the titles for 6 months. It's not like they had anybody really to face for the belts. The only people I remember them even ever facing was Charlotte and Becky in that TLC match. That's kind of the only other than facing. So let me ask you this question. Who do Bliss and Cross really face, huh? Who do they have to face after this? Nobody. You have no tag teams. There are no tag teams. Okay, I just wish they killed the belts already. I don't even know why they still even have this shit going on. It's you forget there's even tag belts at this point, but it's hey, whatever, let's just give them to Asuka. Not Asuka, but let's just give them to Bliss and Nikki Cross. It's not like they have anyone else to face, and trust me, I've been seeing through Twitter throughout the whole night of people saying they just wish Kairi and Asuka would either go to Stardom, or I've either heard AEW or Kairi saying go back to Stardom in Japan. I've already heard people say that all night because it's better than taking the pinfall from Bliss and everything. So, like I said, the match wasn't even actually that bad, but I couldn't have really given a shit because, A, I knew who was winning, and I just don't care about the tag belts in general. So, this is one of those matches I just really don't care about. Next, a match. Here's another match I don't care about. Let's get to the second part of this. I'm sure people either went to the bathroom for this. Was Corbin coming out. This is probably the basic reaction he would have got if there was a crowd out there for him. And he pretty much talked about his attack on Elias, knocking him off the perch over a week ago, which I'm sure people was wondering, who was he even talking to? And Elias came out with a guitar, and he hit Corbin with it as soon as he came out with it. Came out in his entrance, and hits her with a guitar, but I guess they still do the match anyways. Listen, I don't care for this match. I don't think anybody cared for this match. And listen, even if it was a crowd, even if it was 80,000 people where they were originally going to do WrestleMania, this is basically the reaction they would have gotten either way. It would have made a difference. With a crowd or without a crowd, I'm sure it would have looked like crickets out there for this match. This match could have been on TV. You could have just put this on SmackDown and just been over with it. But hey, we just gotta add random matches for WrestleMania. So I'm sure people either went to the bathroom, got themselves something to eat, or were doing something entirely different throughout this match. Okay, and what? Elias won with he won with a roll up. I know that too. He won with a roll up and beat Corbin with. So I'm assuming this feud is still going. I don't know. Gonna continue on SmackDown. That's if SmackDown or Raw or anything will be going at this point in time after this. But I'm sure this feud is going to continue just because. So this is just something I just did not care about. Okay, I don't think anybody cared about this. Either way, with a crowd, without a crowd, no one would have cared. Okay, and it was so funny. Well, they were kind of comparing JBL and Corbin at one point. I think Cole said that, and I just started laughing at that for some reason, just seeing how bad that was. So, yeah, that's a match I couldn't have given a shit about. Next, a match that I somewhat cared about next was Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's title. Becky Lynch entered the Performance Center, of course, once again driving her 18-wheeler semi-truck, which that truck was very quiet for some reason. Usually semi-trucks are very loud, but this truck was very quiet. I don't know why this truck was quiet. It just looked like maybe my friend Steven told me that maybe it was an electric semi-truck, because semi-trucks are very loud, but all you could hear was just the honking and her, entering the building. Because this is like, what, the third, fourth semi-truck, appearance that's made on here, because well, the idea was this is going to be a WrestleMania entrance anyways, even if it was, a big crowd and stuff. But, every time I see that semi-truck, I just keep want to calling Becky Lynch a wannabe Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just want to be Stone Cold half the time. But this match with Shayna Baszler. At first, I didn't hate this match. This was not a bad match at first. Okay? And this was actually pretty good between, Becky and Baszler. And, of course, I want to see Baszler beat the living dog shit out of Becky in this match. And she did, of course, joint manipulation, submission hold, get her into the arm bar, get into the, the disarmer. Baszler even going for the Kirifuda clutch. I think I said that right. Kirifuda clutch. But Becky ended up dodging it. Pretty much going for the disarmer again. But pretty much Baszler was able to dodge it back to the Kirifuda clutch. But Becky ended up getting to the ropes then. They went on to the outside. Baszler used Becky as a battering ram, knocking her into the announce table, pretty much her head about a couple times before throwing her back into the ring. She put her back into the Kirifuda clutch, choking her out, but Becky ended up rolling, pretty much dodging it, pretty much rolling back and still winning and retaining the title. And my immediate reaction was, what the fuck? So let me get this straight. Y'all didn't have Baszler on the main roster, right? So she was in the Royal Rumble, eliminated 8 people, killing motherfuckers, destroyed everybody in that Elimination Chamber match, but then you finally have her, face Becky at WrestleMania, and this is what you get. So you built her to be this unstoppable badass for the past few months, but come WrestleMania time now, she loses. And the finish was just bad, okay? And here's the thing, the match wasn't bad, but I just looked at that finish like, that's it. I just said, well, that's a cheap bullshit finish y'all just came up with right there, okay? And honestly, I'm sure everybody was just waiting for Baszler to take that belt away from Becky, because Becky has been champion for basically almost over a year now at this point, holding that belt. I'm sure everybody thought that, Baszler was going to win the belt and walk away with it tonight, and, Becky was going to lose. So I don't know what the plan is behind this, but even I just kind of sat there when I saw him like, oh shit, she actually won the match. I didn't really see that coming. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I just think we all expected for, Baszler just wins and she walks away with the title. There you go. Because now I'm wondering this, where do you go on from here? Because now the thing that's going in my head is Ronda coming back soon to beat Becky. And, God knows when that's going to be if this virus ever blows over. But we don't know when that's going to happen unless they do something on the night after WrestleMania. I know that's already taped, but at least they do something on there. But I just sat there wondering, why did this even happen? This makes no sense. And Becky went over clean. And I know it was a roll-up and Baszler was surprised, so I want to say she was somewhat protected in a way, but this makes no sense. I don't know where you go on from here. I'm assuming Ronda may come back. I don't know, because who else do you throw at Becky? Unless you're just going to have Baszler go for the title again. Or maybe she wins it on the Raw, on, the night after Mania, but it's not going to mean much, because you should have just gave her the belt at WrestleMania. So I don't understand that. That makes no sense. Like I said, they built Shayna Baszler to look like an unstoppable killer, become WrestleMania time. She loses by a roll-up. And kills Becky throughout most of the match. But, like I said, loses by a roll-up. Makes no fucking sense. What do we got next here? Yes, Intercontinental title on the line. Sami Zayn, or Sammy Fidel Castro Zayn, and, his dancing, versus Daniel Bryan. Intercontinental title on the line. I don't know why they have Gronk and Mojo there do yes chants, since they're the only two in the building doing the yes chants, but they do the yes chants. Bryan comes out first, then Sammy, and I gotta say, Daniel Bryan and them, they were really killing themselves out here. And so people said this for, an empty arena match and everything. And wow, they were really going in. Because Daniel ended up kind of chasing Zayn throughout some of the matches. Sami Zayn trying to stall. Of course, he's being the chicken shit heel right now. And he's got Cesaro and Nakamura right there with him. Referee started counting. Sammy got back in, but he kept going back outside. Bryan tried to chase him, but, Cesaro or Nakamura kept blocking him several times. Gulak pretty much went after Cesaro and Nakamura, pretty much sent him over the barricade. Bryan ended up getting Sami Zayn in, because he ended up trying to chase after him, because Sammy pretty much tried to walk away, and Bryan said let him go, but he ended up spearing him on the stage, throwing him back into the ring, hitting him with several punches. There's some hard-looking punches, by the way, too. Kicking him several times. Bryan just hit a big drop kick on him from the top rope. Taking him down, knock him to the outside of the ring. I thought this looked brutal right here. He hits a big suicide dive, which I thought this looked deadly. It looked like Bryan nearly hit his neck on the barricade out here. And I was like, man, these guys are really killing themselves out here, but somebody said it's for. Most of these guys in this match ought to be used to being, wrestling in front of an empty arena, okay? Most of these guys were in ROH. Bryan, Cesaro, Zayn, Generico, Danielson, Castagnoli, whatever you want to call him. Nakamura to an extent also, because, he wrestled in ROH, but come on, New Japan's had some small crowds also. Gulak, CZW, so, like I said, these guys should be used to, wrestling in front of nobody, but I'm not gonna lie, they kind of made it work out here, but that suicide dive Bryan hit, nearly killing his neck out there and kind of no-selling it, that was deadly. But, Bryan, once again, like I say, kept going back after Zayn. Pretty much hit him with a big running forearm. That looks stiff, by the way, also. Then hit him with another kick on him. Zayn pretty much came back, hitting some chops on him, but Bryan no-sold it. Bryan pretty much knocked Zayn down, pretty much kicking him, grabbing his arms and, stepping on his head then several times. Gulak did some yes chants. Cesaro and Nakamura came back and pretty much attacked Gulak, but as they were all brawling to the outside, Bryan ended up hitting a suicide dive, knocking down Cesaro and Nakamura. He got back in the ring, pretty much jumped from the top rope, but Sami Zayn hit a big haluva kick in midair, pretty much still retaining the Intercontinental Championship. See, that wasn't even actually that bad of a match. I actually expected Bryan to walk away with the title here, but, Sami Zayn, like I said, being a chicken shit heel he is, and, using Cesaro and Nakamura here, doing his way to catch the title. Well, retain the title was not really that bad, so at least he found a way to, still retained. Like I said, I expected Bryan to walk away with it, and I'm sure people thought this match may have stole the show. I'm like, okay, Bryan and Sami Zayn should be good, but what did they have, like almost about 10 minutes out there, I believe? Excuse me. They had about 10 minutes. It wasn't actually bad. I'm sure people expected a barn burner, but Sami Zayn as a heel is pretty hilarious. Like I said, I enjoyed the dancing, and I just call him Fidel Castro now, because he looks like Fidel Castro when he comes out every time. So that wasn't actually that bad, but I actually expected Bryan to walk away with the title. So yeah, Sami Zayn still retains. But next, we get into the ladder match next. Due to Miz not being involved in this match, people said he came in sick and everything, so this is going to be a regular triple threat match for the tag titles. So it's John Morrison, Kofi Kingston, and Jimmy Uso. So no triple threat tag team ladder match, no Big E, no Jey Uso, no Miz. We still gonna put the tag team titles on the line, but in a singles match for tag belts in a ladder match, which I want to say right now, this was almost basically the best match of the night. I loved it. This was great. This was really great. Now, you can go on and say that these guys killed each other in front of nobody. Yeah, true, but this was a badass match. I enjoyed it. They would kill themselves out there, even right at the beginning. Kofi doing that monkey flip on Morrison, pretty much doing a big bump. That looked insane. Well, not a big bump, but a big flip, I should say, on his feet. That was great. Because there's just so many crazy spots you could think from this match, okay? Just insanity out there. One thing I want to say, Morrison going to hit him with Starship Pain was pretty crazy on one of the Usos on the ladder. That was great. Kofi pretty much hitting a big Hurricane Rana on Morrison as he was on the ladder. That was cool too. Him diving over the top rope on everybody was insane. Kofi was a beast in this match. Let me say that. Kofi was a freaking beast out there, because it got to one point, it was like Jimmy Uso was walking on the barricade, right? Kofi just takes the ladder and throws it at him. I'm like, holy shit, that was insane. Like, I know you got hard, but I gotta keep you down, man. I gotta keep you down. He just threw the ladder just right at his chest while he's running on the barricade. That was insane. Kofi, pretty much knocking the Uso into another ladder then. He put him on top of the ladder because he held it like a bridge on the outside of the ring. I think Kofi was going to jump from it. But Morrison was on the top rope, and Morrison does like not a springboard, but he tight ropes across the ropes to the other side of the ring on the Kofi, and then hits a big Spanish fly on him. That was great. And then Uso got back up, hit a big, pretty much hitting a splash on Morrison. That was insane. Next thing you know, they start climbing the ladder then. Uso was climbing up it, but Kofi got up on the other ladder, pretty much tried to get up to the ladder then. Kofi pretty much kept knocking Uso, trying to knock him off the ladder, but Uso ended up falling off of there. Kofi almost got the titles, but Morrison climbed up there and stopped them. Pretty much Kofi had him in the ring, which he knocked Morrison off the ladder, right? And then Kofi, I thought this looked picture perfect, but he did a big double stomp from the top of the ladder on the Morrison, pretty much taking him out. That was great. And then, he put a ladder in like a bridge right there, and then pretty much, like, he put the ladder, well, it was another ladder, into a bridge while the other ladder was like in the middle of the ring set up. And then Jimmy Uso, he ended up throwing Kofi's head into the ladder. That looked pretty deadly. Pretty much, I just splashed your face like a pancake. Morrison pretty much jumped off the ladder then, and pretty much hit a super kick on Jimmy Uso, then knocking him down. And then he went up the ladder then, and then next Kofi and, Kofi was still down, but Kofi pretty much Kofi's on the ground. Jimmy Uso was on top of the ladder, but John Morrison ended up pushing Jimmy Uso off the ladder onto the ground outside. So that was insane. I heard some people may have said that was edited, when he pushed him out, because we never saw him fall on the ground because the camera was away from it. until they actually cut the camera back to him, lying on the ground. That may have been edited right there, but he pushed him off the ladder, knocking him to the outside of the ring. Morrison pretty much climbed up the ladder. Kofi was on top of the ladder then, trying to stop him. Uso ended up getting up there. All three of them are fighting for the titles. Next thing you know, they grab the titles, and everybody's holding the belt, so they take the titles down, but no one hasn't won yet because they're all holding the belt at the same time, so they end up fighting for it. They knock Morrison off the ladder, pretty much double headbutting him. He falls onto the ladder with the bridge, but the titles dropped also, and I guess Morrison caught one of the belts, so John Morrison ended up still retaining the tag team titles. This match was great. I enjoyed it. I thought it was the best thing of the night. I just didn't like the finish. The finish looked cheap because, they just dropped the titles on the Morrison. So I'm thinking like, okay, Morrison falls, so okay, Miz and Morrison ain't the tag team champions no more. But since the belts dropped also and one of them hit Morrison, I guess he grabbed it, which didn't look like he grabbed it, but, ended up falling on him and everything. Excuse me, ended up falling on him. Morrison, Miz, Morrison still end up retaining the tag team title. So this was great. This was the best match out of the night. I just didn't like the finish, but these guys killed each other out there. Hopefully they get a big payday out of this. Hopefully everybody out of this WrestleMania show got a big payday out of this, because the guys came out there and killed themselves tonight, okay? A lot of them did. But the ladder match was great. Next we go back to Raw with Saxon and Phillips. Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins coming out in all white. I'm sure there can be a lot of jokes made from here. The Messiah, Jesus, white Jesus, black Jesus. My friend Steven said white Jesus, or he could have been the exalted one. Yeah, he may have been the exalted one. It's like what, Brody Lee's right now doing. He's the exalted one. We got another exalted one. But basically, Seth Rollins trying to look like God or a wrestling God. No. JBL sitting right over there. Or then again, Ric Flair, wrestling God. But basically, that's what, Seth Rollins is trying to be. He did look clean, though, in all that white, though. He did look clean doing his Messiah thing. But basically, he's trying to be like Jesus. And Kevin Owens, his KO Mania shirt, number 4, I believe. I do like the KO Mania shirts every year. They do look cool. But, this was another great match. This was one of the better matches of the night, too. Due to a lot of trash talking, because, Seth Rollins said, this is what you wanted, Kev? This is what you wanted? This was good. Real good between Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Especially in this empty performance center. This was great. Owens pretty much taking control of this match at the beginning, doing a cannonball on him, trying to go for a power drive on the apron, but Rollins ended up hitting a back body drop on him and then hit him with a Falcon Arrow on the apron, which looked pretty insane. He had a suicide dive to the outside, and, Rollins is like, when the light shines brightest, he becomes a god, he says. Rollins pretty much ended up in another suicide dive on Owens. And he says, come on, Kev, it's too easy beating you. You're a disappointment. What are your kids going to think? He goes for another suicide dive, a third one, but Owens pretty much stops him then, throws him back in the ring, pretty much taking him out. And he says, this is going to be WrestleMania. But Seth pretty much ended up taking him down again with another sling blade. And he says he's going to burn it down. He went for his curb stomp, but pretty much Owens dodged it. He went for another curb stomp. He dodged it again. That's 2 dodges. Owens ended up kicking him and then hit him with a big DDT then right after that. He super kicked Rollins. He hit him with a cannonball. And pretty much he got him with a big senton. And Rollins kicked out. He was going to go for the pop-up powerbomb, but Seth pretty much jumped over him. He tried to go for the stunner, but Rollins ended up hitting him with a kick then after that. And Owens took him down and he says, come on, Messiah, God, whatever you want to be. Let's go. You're God, right? Come on, do something. Which pretty much Rollins, he got him to the outside of the ring then at that point. And Owens pretty much kept going after him. But next thing you know, Rollins, he hit him with the ring bell. So now we got ourselves here a disqualification. And at first, I was actually about to shit on this match all the way, because number one, this was not a bad match at first. But then I was like, DQ finish at WrestleMania. And I kind of sat there confused for a minute, but then Rollins was like, nah. I'm not going to go down like this. You're supposed to be Messiah, right? You're supposed to be WrestleMania here. Supposed to be a god. He says, let's do this. Make it no DQ. No disqualification. Let's do this. You want to be a god and everything? Let's see how great you are doing a no disqualification match. But he called Rollins a little bitch. Rollins came back to the ring, so now we got a no DQ match going on between Seth and Kevin Owens. So yeah, no DQ, no count out. Seth pretty much says, you still want to do this, huh? You still want to go. So he pretty much took down Owens. He got the steel steps. He hit Kevin Owens in the head with the steel steps then. He took a chair and started beating Kevin Owens with it then right after. But Rollins told the referee to get back. Owens ended up getting the ring bell then, and he hit Seth Rollins with it two times in the head, knocking him onto the announce table then. He cleared the table, and Owens pretty much, he climbed to the WrestleMania sign. And he says, how's this for a WrestleMania moment? So he climbed up top behind the announce table. I'm surprised they even put the WrestleMania sign right there, but he climbed the top of it and hit a big elbow from the top of the WrestleMania sign onto the ground. Seth Rollins just there gasping for air, trying to breathe really hard, just wheezing and everything. Looked like he couldn't even get up, and he was just in a lot of pain. Owens ended up getting up. He got him back into the ring then, hit him with one more stunner, and won the match. So that was great. This is one of, like I said, this is probably the second best thing out of the night. Was Owens and Seth Rollins. Like I said, I probably was going to shit all over this when it was a disqualification, but Owens like, nah. No DQ. You want to call yourself a god? Come on, beat me. Don't beat me by, disqualification. Let's see if you can really beat me. And like I said, this is where we had a no DQ match, and it worked for this feud. Just because these guys have been trying to kill each other for almost how many months at this point. This had to be the ending to this whole feud. Owens ended up winning because Seth has had his number for several months now. So Owens has finally beat Seth Rollins. So I'm assuming this is the end of this feud. And this was great. And it worked. For this feud, this match actually worked in the Performance Center. So like I said, this was one of the better matches here. And the dive Owens did off the WrestleMania side looked insane. So that was great. That was really great. But pretty much after that, we went back to Mojo and Gronk, where Truth showed up saying he had the 24/7 title back. I forgot he even had that belt. I don't even remember him winning it from, what was the guy that had the belt? Riddick Moss. Yeah, that's his name. Riddick Moss there. So next thing you know, Gronk ended up elbowing Truth, and then he tried to pin him, but Mojo pulled Gronk off, and then he pinned him. I don't know why Gronk just didn't pull him back, but Mojo ended up winning the 24/7 title as Gronk just looked on, and I couldn't have given a shit either way. So, Gronk and Mojo, I don't care. Next you know, they went back to not Caleb Braxton, but Charlie Caruso was in the back. Or maybe it was Caleb Braxton. I think it was just Caruso, though. And Paul Heyman showed up out of nowhere, which he got scared for a second. And Heyman pretty much talked about McIntyre because the McIntyre and Lesnar match is tomorrow night. And that Lesnar is, one of the toughest that, McIntyre has stepped up. And this is the match that he wants. But, he's going to crawl out of this match, beat him, and victimized and conquered by the greatest title holder ever. And that is Brock Lesnar. So a good promo from Paul Heyman. And then next thing you know, we get to the Finisher Fest. A match with no explanation, no angle, never was explained. Like I said in my SmackDown review, Universal title on the line. Thank God this was not the main event of this show. I'm glad this wasn't, because I don't think anybody cared. I don't think people wanted to see this regardless. And I'll say this. I know people didn't want to see Roman versus Goldberg anyways, but this shit was actually really worse than Roman versus Goldberg. Braun Strowman, yes, they put him in this match. They never gave a reason why. They never mentioned why Roman was out of the match. They didn't do an angle to this. It's like they said on SmackDown yesterday, hey, it's going to be Goldberg versus Strowman. No reason why. Didn't earn a title shot. Didn't do nothing. This guy wasn't even penciled in for the WrestleMania card. He probably would have been in that Andre Battle Royal for all we know. So yeah, Strowman gets a title shot for no reason. And he goes against Goldberg, which he had 2 security guys from him and Smoke to do his entrance. Listen, this is basically a video game match. This is something you would have played out of any WWE 2K game or SmackDown vs. Raw video game or any SmackDown video game you've ever played. You could have just put the video game in. You could have just put all your finishes in like whatever the limit was, like 5-6 finishes you had stored up. And basically it was just this, a finisher fest match. They just looked at each other for a second. Goldberg ended up kicking Strowman. 3 spears. He does 3 spears, and then he was going to go for the jackhammer. Strowman ended up hitting him with 3 power slams, and then he told Goldberg, "You're nothing, you're finished." He hit him with 1 big 4th power slam, and it was over after that. So yeah, Strowman 2 shits and a fuck about this match, and I'm sure nobody doesn't like Strowman anyways, due to what he said about everybody on the internet about a couple weeks ago. Especially independent wrestlers. What do you say? I think I said this yesterday. Pretty much told him, like, go get a job. Change your profession. Oh, all I had I came to WWE, in a Kia Soul with only $150. They only hired this guy because of his size. Never worked on the indies, and I don't think Strowman would have ever survived on the indies, to be honest. So, reason why he was even hired, because he's just a big dude, and he's still not that great of a wrestler anyways. And since he's the champion right now, I've heard people say this tonight. You think Jinder Mahal is bad as a champion? Imagine how it's going to look since Strowman is the champion now. And the funny thing is this, Strowman should have been champion like a couple years ago when he was white hot. But at this point, no one gives a crap about Strowman. He was never really that great of a wrestler to begin with. And the stuff he probably said on the internet made him look like an asshole and a dick, especially what's going on right now in these times and how hard it is right now. Made it look worse. So, yeah. No one cares about this match. I just laughed at it, just how bad it was. So, yeah. If it were up to me, I would just say it was the worst match of the night. It was what I expected out of this match. It was going to be a finisher fest. But, yeah, it was just bad. Nobody cares. So there you go. But now we get to the main event of this show. Oh boy. The main event of WrestleMania for night 1. Undertaker, AJ Styles, Boneyard match. Wow. You're gonna look at this match in either way. You're either gonna like this match or you're going to bury this match of just how this went. Listen, if you've seen any Matt Hardy final deletion or ultimate deletion, this is basically what this was, like a final deletion, ultimate deletion match. This is basically what you're gonna get, because I know people that don't even watch wrestling, and they saw this tonight, and I got friends that called and said this is probably one of the funniest things they've ever seen, and I'm not gonna lie myself. I was laughing at this, but I enjoyed every single little bit of it. Like, some of it was cheesy, but wow, this was just batshit crazy. And it worked. And for some reason, I'm going to say this right here, it worked. And you could tell Jeremy Borash may have produced a lot of this match because he helped Matt Hardy do a lot of these final deletion matches. So this is what this was a final deletion match. Because what are we starting this? They're at a graveyard or something, right? And this hearse pulls up with Undertaker's music hitting. Well, you know, his regular music, but these druids come out and everything, and they pull out a hearse. But who's in the casket? AJ Styles comes out with his music playing, and, you know, he pretty much calls out Undertaker then, and he says, "Where are you, dead man? Where are you?" And then next thing you know, I guess somebody said this was Metallica playing, so I didn't know. I was actually hoping to hear Rollin' or, you know, his Big Evil music, and I think that would look cool if he came out with it, but he came out with the motorcycle driving to the graveyard, and Undertaker looked like a badass coming into this, okay? He looked like a badass. It was Biker Taker, and he was in Biker Taker mode. This was Big Evil right here. This was the American badass. I would have liked it if he came out to Rollin', but I don't think WWE wanted to pay music rights to Limp Bizkit or whoever made the, the Big Evil, You're Gonna Pay song. That's how it goes. The You're Gonna Pay. Yeah, that's the song, people. You all know how that song goes. So just to give you a little refreshing reminder, if you know how Undertaker's old music, especially in 2003, that was a badass theme song, by the way. I wish he would have came out to that, but him coming out to whatever music they had for him, like I said, people told me it was Metallica. He looked like a badass either way. So AJ Styles said, I think he was going to show up. I guess Michelle didn't, she let you out tonight, huh? Saying, I dug your own grave for you, but he said that this grave was for you, Taker, but Undertaker said you dug your own grave, and AJ called him like, come on, old man, let's see what you got, man, let's see what you got. So Undertaker said, I got enough for you. They end up brawling with each other then, pretty much punching back and forth. Undertaker threw AJ into the hearse then, and he just started beating him up, and then he had him on the ground. He said, come on, AJ, get up. He picked up like this pipe. I thought it was a knife or a blade for a second. He was going to hit AJ with it, but he hit hit one of the windows to the hearse. Undertaker's arm started bleeding. He was like, son of a bitch, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Now I'm bleeding. And then next thing you know, AJ started punching Undertaker in. And he threw him into the hearse again, which the window cracked in after that. Taker pretty much got up and he started beating AJ again. He says, come on, man. He threw him back into the hearse again, which was cracked. And, he says, come on, man. Let's go, man. You want some of this, old man? Let's do it. Let's do it. And like I said, Undertaker and AJ just talking so much trash throughout this match. And Undertaker pretty much, they got onto the top of the hearse then. Undertaker's beating him on top of the hearse, punching him several times. Just several punches to the head. And AJ, pretty much, AJ ended up throwing some dirt in the Undertaker's face as he tried to crawl away. He kicked the Undertaker a couple times. He kicked him in the nuts. He started punching him again. And, they're fighting over the grave then. Taker was trying to fight back. And everything, and then he threw AJ Styles into the grave then, and he says, how's it feel down there? And then next thing you know, Gallows and Anderson show up. He says, hey, jackass, we're just getting started. So Gallows and Anderson are there, right? And then Undertaker's walking up to them, but then Gallows and Anderson back up, and then they knock, I don't know what building, or this was a barn or something, but they knock down these wooden doors, and then all these Druid guys just show up with hoods, just all the Druids. So it's like 8-on-1 then. So Undertaker is basically in a handicap match. It's 8 versus 1, and they all surround Taker. Undertaker just starts knocking these guys left and right, and then Gallows and Anderson attack Undertaker then. And then, they had a pipe, and, he's going to hit Undertaker with it, but Undertaker pretty much got both of them, and, he started beating them both up then, and then he had a shovel then. I think he had a shovel then. He was going to beat both of them with it, but next AJ Styles came out of nowhere. He hit him with a tombstone over the back of Undertaker's head, and just beat him down then. And, he just kept punching him, and he said, like, look at you, man. You're just a broken down old bitch and everything, and AJ had a shovel, and he speared him through the barn, I think it was a barn, but he speared him through the wooden door, and Undertaker's just breathing heavily, and he couldn't get up, and he says, come on, old man, this is what you give me? Look at you. And he took the shovel, and he was going to hit Undertaker with it. He says, I'm going to do the world a favor by taking you out and burying you. But, what do we got here? I'm not going to pick that up right now. It's some phone call, but I'm not going to pick that up while I'm doing this review. But next thing you know, he was going to take the shovel, and he hit him with it. So, because he got to his feet, but AJ hit him with the shovel, knocking him into the grave. Undertaker fell into it. AJ had some dirt then, and he said, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So, like I said, it was ashes to ashes, dust to dust then, and he dropped the dirt onto him, and then AJ got into this tractor, or I guess it was like a big cherry picker, or like basically it was a bulldozer, okay? It was a bulldozer. He was gonna dump the dirt on him, but next thing you know, Undertaker disappeared, I guess, and he magically appeared. Whatever powers Undertaker uses and everything, because before AJ had to punch Undertaker so many times to get him into the grave, but he appeared behind them and he knocked AJ Styles off the bulldozer or whatnot, or tractor, and then AJ Styles just starts trying to run away. Undertaker says, "You can't run, AJ. You can't run." He says, "You don't last 30 years around here without taking an ass kicking. Let's see what you got, buddy. Come on, buddy. You wanted this, AJ, right? Come on, man. Let's do it." So AJ just climbs up the top of the barn then, and like Undertaker shoots pyro or fire for some reason. So I guess he's Kane now. He can magically make fire appear and stuff, and he pretty much hit AJ Styles with a big boot, and then Gallows and Anderson pretty much got up there to help AJ, but Undertaker ended up he threw Gallows off the top of the barn, throwing him somewhere into the dark, and then he tombstone Anderson onto the top of the barn and leaving him there, and then he caught AJ again. He chokeslammed him all the way off the top of the barn into a whole bunch of debris. AJ's on the ground. Undertaker just climbs down and says, "You want to talk? What's my wife's name, man? What's my wife's name? You don't mention her name, man. Come on, dude, get up. This is what you wanted, right, buddy? You think all this was going to affect my legacy, huh?" He says, "We just getting started." Undertaker said, "We getting started. This is the beginning." So he just picks up AJ and he said, "Man, I gotta give you credit, man. I didn't think you was gonna last as long as you did. I gotta give you credit. You're a lot tougher than I thought." And AJ was like, "I'm sorry, man. Please don't bury me. Come on, man. I'm sorry. He said, "Undertaker, what you sorry for, man? What are you sorry for?" He said, "You know what? I'm not gonna bury you, man. I respect you. You fought me. I gotta give you respect. You fought your ass off here, alright? And, I'm not gonna do it. I'm giving you respect." So Undertaker hugged him then, and he says, I'm not gonna. He says, "You ain't gave me that good of a fight in a long time, man. You good, brother. We cool. It's all good now, man. You ain't gave me that fight in a while. You gave me the fight of my life." So, Undertaker looks like he's about to walk away. But next thing you know, Undertaker turned around and he kicked AJ Styles into the grave. And, man, next thing you know, Undertaker just gets into the tractor or whatnot. He dumped the dirt on top of AJ and, turned it off. And Undertaker's gong goes off, and, he walks away from the grave. He pulls away the thing which had AJ Styles' name on the tombstone. I guess the date he was born to the date he dies. Undertaker walked to his motorcycle, picked up his bandana, put it back on, got on his motorcycle, raised his right arm to the air. The pyro shoots off, and Undertaker's, symbol shows up, and then the music plays, whatever the Metallica thing plays after that, and the show is over then. So, there you go. This went off for 35 minutes to what the timestamp says. So, listen, there are many things you can say from this. Basically, this was like the broken universe, okay? If you've seen what Matt Hardy has done, this is basically where they got this from, okay? They got this from Matt Hardy, because he did this stuff. You've seen the Ultimate Deletion, Final Deletion, whatever deletion you saw, this is where they got this from, okay? And the music they played, I don't know what music they played. I wish they would use Undertaker's older music, but they played that, and I sat there wondering this. Imagine what the Firefly Funhouse is going to look tomorrow night with John Cena and Bray Wyatt. I'll admit, I loved every single bit of this. I was laughing. I was having a ball watching this. This was insane. I wouldn't mind if I saw a regular match with Undertaker and AJ Styles anyway in the ring, but now I'm sitting there because when Undertaker rolled away on the motorcycle and you just see AJ Styles' hand up in the air as the ground is under him, I'm sure somebody will dig him up after this and we'll see him I'm sure we'll see him on Raw by Monday, but just, this was insane. Some people may have thought that WWE was trying to earn an Oscar for this, okay? And there's going to be some people that have some mixed reactions from this. Some people going to think this was awesome. They're just going to think this is the same stuff Matt Hardy has done. I'm not going to pick up for that call right now. But they basically thought this was a movie. My friend Daryl told me this when he called me tonight. He said, this is a movie, isn't it? This looks like a freaking movie out here. That's basically what you saw was a movie. A movie, okay? But yeah, this was a movie to what you saw. This probably was a movie to what you saw, especially for the time it was given. But if you have seen anything with Matt Hardy, if you have not seen the Broken Universe, this is basically what the Broken Universe was. Now, I think Matt Hardy's was a little bit funnier half the time. But when I thought about Boneyard, Graveyard match, or whatever this was, I said this before. This was like Sting versus Vampiro in WCW back then. Okay? But, like I said, my opinion, I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was hilarious. I enjoyed seeing Biker Taker. This match worked for Undertaker, okay? It did. This was a brawl. This was a fight. I know some people may have thought it looked a little bit silly a couple times with Undertaker beating up like 8 to 10 guys or making fire shoot out of anywhere. Honestly, I thought Kane was going to show up. I thought Kane was going to show up and make the save for Undertaker from Gallows and Anderson. I thought when they had Undertaker in the grave and everything, I thought Kane was going to show up and save Undertaker. I didn't think Undertaker was, going to do his, disappearing act, but we've seen Undertaker do this for years, but do his disappearing act and everything and just show up out of nowhere. So I can tell there's going to be a lot of mixed reactions to this. I'm surprised this was even the main event to WrestleMania, okay? I didn't think this was going to be the main event to this show, but I'd rather have seen this the main event than see Goldberg and, Goldberg and Braun Strowman for 2 minutes, whatever crap that was. I'd rather have seen this better than the Universal title match. So, I personally enjoyed it. It did look a little bit corny a couple times, but I just thought it was funny. Undertaker and AJ just talking shit back and forth was just hilarious. I thought it was great. I just thought like Undertaker was like, come on, buddy. Get up, buddy. Let's go, man. Come on, man. Let's go, man. I thought you was talking all that stuff. Let's go. Get up! Get your ass up! I liked it, so it was hilarious to me, okay? I just thought this was funny. And I expected something like this was going to happen, because, like I said before earlier, nobody knew what a Boneyard match was. Nobody knew this was going to be. Because right off the bat, I thought it was funny when AJ just showed up out of the casket and his music hits. And he's like, let's go, let's do this. Just got his OC gear on, his shirt and everything, and his gloves ready to fight. And I just thought him just talking, acting cocky was just hilarious. So, like I said, I'm sure someone dug AJ out of the ground or whatever. But this was insane. And I thought I'd rather see Biker Taker back. This was a nice change than seeing the regular, dead man, die, disappearing act. And don't get me wrong, he still did the disappearing act here and everything, but I have not seen Biker Taker in a very long time, and it was cool to see him in this match for WrestleMania. I'm surprised this was the main event, but like I said before, I'd rather have seen this in the main event than the title match, okay? So, like I said, I'm sure people are going to have mixed opinions and mixed reviews on this whole thing. Some people are going to say this was probably awesome. This is, like I said before, Matt Hardy has done this several times. Or some are going to tell you, like, this was not a wrestling match. This was just some silly bullshit they saw tonight. But even people I know they don't watch wrestling, they thought this was just freaking hilarious, okay? So, let me give you my final thoughts for this whole part 1 to WrestleMania, okay? Because listen, this ain't Wrestle Kingdom. This ain't like no part 1, night 2 to Wrestle Kingdom, so I'm not going to compare it to that, especially the reason why WrestleMania is even 2 nights anyways, given what's going on right now. But I'll tell you what I enjoyed. The best things out of this show was the ladder match, Owens and Seth, and the Boneyard match. Universal title match, bullshit. Gronk, fuck him. The tag title match, I don't really care. And I just wish they killed the belts already, and I just don't give a shit about Bliss in general. Like I said, I don't mind Nikki Cross, but wasn't a bad match, but I couldn't have cared. Elias and Corbin, you could have just put that on SmackDown, and no one still wouldn't have cared. With a crowd, without a crowd, that would have been the same reaction they would have gotten either way. Who else was on this show tonight? I'm trying to remember here, but yeah, they got Marty drawn. I'm blanking my mind because I guess I didn't care about the other matches so much. I only just remember like a couple at the top of my head, to be honest. But we had like 8 matches on this show, I believe. But yeah, like I said, an Intercontinental title match was kind of whatever too. So, it wasn't bad, but I couldn't have cared either way. But, like I said, Sammy and Bryan, they did what they could out there. Becky and Baszler, I didn't even think that was that bad of a match. It's just, I don't know why they had Becky still retain the title. That makes no sense to me. So, yeah, the best things out of this entire night was the ladder match. Like I said, I hope everybody got a big payday out of that. Owens and Seth and the Boneyard match. Those are the best things I could say out of part 1 or night 1 for WrestleMania 36 tonight. Those are the best things I could say from this match. So, like I said, nobody or anybody did not expect what was going to happen on. I didn't know what was going to happen. And like I said, there's a lot of bad to talk about this show, but they had their bright spots in this show too. But that Boneyard match, man, I was having a ball watching that. But I can tell you right now, and I'm sure I'm going to listen to some other reviews, but I can tell who may be shitting on this and that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to shit on this anyways. Like I said before, would I have liked to see a regular match with Undertaker and AJ Styles? Yeah, I would have gone either way. But this right here was just, this was insane. And I enjoyed it, okay? I'll admit, I enjoyed this, whatever this was. It was crazy, but I enjoyed it. But other than that, I am done with this part 1 review for WrestleMania 36. We will be back tomorrow night for part 2. Like I said, we got Brock and Drew tomorrow, the Firefly Funhouse match, Edge and Orton. I'm actually looking forward to that one. The NXT Women's title match, the SmackDown Women's title match, Raw Tag titles on the line. Aleister Black versus Lashley, which I think that's still happening. After what I heard, Lashley wasn't even at the tapings. I'm trying to see if I forgot anything else. It was, I don't know, it was like a total of 18 matches to what I've read, so it was a lot of matches for this card. So we're going to see what happens tomorrow night. I don't know, but we going to see. But other than that, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about this show tonight. Tell me what you thought about this Boneyard match tonight. Tell me what you thought about any of this empty building show. Okay? Tell me what you thought about this. Like I said before, I would have put WrestleMania maybe at a different date, but we don't know how long this virus is about to keep going, so I get why they did it, but I'm not saying it was a good idea, but like I said before, we don't know how long this is going to go, and we don't know, like I said, nobody knows when this virus is going to end, so we don't know how long Mania would have been postponed, but I enjoyed what I could enjoy out of it. But like I said before, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890. We will see you tomorrow night for part 2 of WrestleMania, so I'm out of here. I got a lot of editing to do, and yeah. We'll see you for part 2 tomorrow night. I wish I could have done it with my friend tonight. We would have done a double review with my co-host. But like I said, given what's going on right now, we're doing solo, and we will be back tomorrow night for part 2. I'm out. See you guys later. Stay safe. Peace.